Greetings and welcome back everyone. If you like these videos, be sure to share them with your friends to help the channel grow. I'm CryptoSnake, back again to bring you some Bitcoin analysis. But I'm going to start this video out a little bit differently. First, I want to discuss some market psychology and a story that has been circling around the crypto space. Delving into the dip on this market, a lot of it really isn't worth going into, so I'm just going to take a couple of tidbits out of it. This statement in particular from Tony Vase, I think the biggest event in 2018 has to be the declining price of not only Bitcoin, but the entire space of the crypto assets. To me, this is significantly different than what happened in 2014 or 15. I believe that this time around, the altcoin bubble has burst and will not return. I think that's going to be the big difference. This entire statement is categorically false, and I think it spreads a lot of FUD in the space that's not necessary. This dump looks very similar to previous dumps. In fact, we still may have more to fall on this dump, as we could fall all the way down to 95% from the peak and still be in a healthy correction range for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, as historically we have dropped down to 95% in the past. Now, the statement that altcoins won't return is nothing new. We hear it every single bear cycle. Oh, the altcoins are dead, they're never coming back. It's true that some altcoins will die, ICO projects will fail, but the altcoin market is revitalized every single time the market swings back. Moving over to CoinMarketCap real quick, this coin list looks completely different than what it did in 2014. To say that altcoins won't return is absolutely ridiculous. Altcoins always will return, the top list will change. These top 10 were not here in 2014. In fact, if you go back into the past market cap listings, you probably wouldn't even know half of the assets in there. So yes, certain altcoins will die, but to say the altcoin market will die off completely is absolutely ludicrous and uneducated. I bring this up because I don't want you to lose faith in this market. Use this opportunity to be a savage trader and pick up these coins while they're bottomed out and make massive gains on the ride up. When others are fearful, be greedy. When others are greedy, be fearful. Now is the time to actually start accumulating these assets and just hold for the rest of the year. And I'll cover a little later in the video where we might be going in the next year or so, but crypto is a very long-term game. You shouldn't just get burned out while the price is dropping. This is the time to accumulate when the price is dropping, because we go on these crazy rides up. If we take a look at Ethereum here, if you invested in Ethereum back here when we bottomed out and the price dropped down here, you lost about 62% of your assets. Okay, but if you invest down at the bottom, we're not even all the way back up there. We're at 70%. Moving all the way back up there, that's 133% gains. Crypto is a very volatile market. There's always opportunity to make your money back, so don't give up. All right, enough of my ranting and onto some technical analysis here. I'm going to start out with some altcoins, first of which is Ethereum, as I didn't cover them yesterday, so I'm going to go into Ethereum. Ethereum is absolutely ripping right now. It did test the top of the daily cloud system, and it has fairly meekishly broken this top of this cloud system. I am seeing some concerning factors here that this pump will be temporary, but for now it is pumping very aggressively. Down on the Williams %R, which is the measurement of the momentum from the bullish to the bearish and the bearish to the bullish, we are now peaking out around -7. This could increase slightly more, possibly for a test up of 160 or so, with a final spike to form a double top formation up here. Currently we're forming an ascending wedge, which is really lucrative to trade inside of, but overall is a bearish indication, indicating a spike back down. If we can form a daily candle above this daily cloud system though, we will find some support around 152 or so. We haven't finished that candle yet, so I am expecting us to break back down into this daily cloud and very likely be rejected from this level, especially with the Williams %R being this heavily up into bullish territory on the daily. That is very significant. The relative strength index is also equally overbought right now, up around 64. It's not above the overbought range, not indicating a very sharp pullback, but nonetheless we are likely to pull back to the daily Kijunsen, which is also descending. Now, the descending daily Kijunsen isn't necessarily bearish at this point, as it did offer the opportunity for Ethereum to cross its price above the daily Kijunsen, and it will start using this as support. But currently the price is more than 14% separated from the daily Kijunsen, so it is likely to pull back to that level. This would put Ethereum's price somewhere around the 140 range. So overall, from this level, I am mostly bearish for a temporary breakdown at least. There is a potential warning for a very large breakdown on Ethereum. And this would be due to the Ethereum longs. Ethereum longs is the measurement, of course, that Ethereum is going to go up. It's people betting that Ethereum is going to go up, and what happens is when this becomes overextended, people start gambling Jimmy with his gambling assets, puts in his money on 100x over at the gambling casino BitMEX, gets himself liquidated, and it starts a chain reaction of the money flowing out of the market very rapidly, which causes a chain reaction and liquidates the following positions below them. So as we can see on Ethereum longs, we are getting fairly close to the all-time high where we broke down very aggressively. That's where we saw that previous dip around this range back on September 25th or so, which brought us down about 20%. So we may be looking for a sizable dip here if this long squeeze actuates. Right now on the Williams %R, we are heavily overextended on the longs and very close to where we broke down previously. This is the normal level where we do break down. The copper curve is still rising and the RSI is still rising as well. So there's a possibility that we will continue bullish above that daily cloud system before breaking down violently. So one thing I want to emphasize on Ethereum, it may shoot up a little bit here. Eventually it will violently break down and we're not going to find a permanent position around the 160 level yet. I think we will come back to test the 80 to 100 level once more. This is heavy support around the 100. It's also even heavier support around the 80. I think what's likely to happen is we will come up here to test the wedge, break down through the wedge down into the daily cloud system. We may eventually spike down to the bottom of this daily cloud system, possibly finding some support around the 100, maybe temporarily wicking down through it before bouncing back and starting to recover once more. Now, if Ethereum long squeezes and the price starts to drop very rapidly, it will likely take Bitcoin down with it. And likewise, if Bitcoin forms into the inverse head and shoulders pattern that I covered in the past several videos, it may take Ethereum up with it as well temporarily. I believe any pump in this area is likely to be temporary for at least another test of the previous support zone. Now switching over to some Litecoin, just another altcoin I'm going to cover really fast. Litecoin is also forming an ascending wedge pattern. Although this is a much broader ascending wedge, this is an overall bearish pattern. We do have heavy resistance up here at 8,660 or so, and it has been consistently rejected from this level. I could see this wedge hold until another test of this resistance level before breaking back down to previous support somewhere around the 73.28, 73.30 level. Right now, Litecoin is also equally overextended as Ethereum has on the Williams %R. It is moving up into that bullish range and likely to reverse into a bearish range with a bit more side trending in this area. The daily Kijun-sen has also started to descend, same analysis with Ethereum. Even though it is descending, that's not necessarily bearish at the moment, as it did offer the price an opportunity to move above it for support. The copper curve is starting to level off, which means it is going to start making some massive moves here. Personally, I do believe that it is going to start breaking down, as both the RSI and Williams %R are heavily up into the overbought range. So just to summarize really fast for Litecoin, I do believe it's possible it could pump a little bit more up to 86.65 before breaking down for a final test of the support zone down here around the 7,000 zone or so, possibly testing around the 7,400 level. And I'll go ahead and go into Bitcoin after this, but before I get on with the rest of my technical analysis, if you'd like to join my free Telegram for insights on the market, including Bitcoin, altcoins, and a sneak peek to my personal entries and exits, join t.me/cryptosnakebit. Links directly to the chat and a link on how to install Telegram, which is a free chat program I use to communicate with my VIPs, in the description below. I've also launched my official Twitter, so follow me at CryptoSnakeVIP to get regular updates. And the new year is officially here, and I've given out a fresh batch of altcoin positions to ride for savage gains into the new year. I also give out some hot altcoin swing positions every week to my VIPs. If you want information on how to get into the VIP group to be part of these trades, the information is also in the description below. And I've just announced a brand new feature for my VIP Elite, access to our automatic artificial intelligence bot, which automatically targets altcoins ready for a steady pump. I'll be releasing more information on this over the next couple of weeks as well. And I'm always happy to answer questions. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me on Telegram at officialcryptosnake. So moving back to Bitcoin, there hasn't been too much development, but I will cover what has changed since yesterday. Likewise to the altcoins, the daily Kijun-sen, this blue line, has started to descend, which is normally a bearish indication. However, the Chiku span has broken above the price, which is bullish, and the price has broken above the daily Kijun-sen as well. I I do expect the daily Kijun-sen either to plateau or start rising from here, taking the price with it, acting as support. Now we still are maintaining this inverse head and shoulders formation that I laid out in the previous video and for the past weeks. As I explained in the previous video, normally people would think, okay, the formation is violated if it isn't the same exact size as the left shoulder. As I covered in the previous video, it can even be up to 2 times the size of the previous shoulder. So overall, this formation is still in play. It actually does appear to be rising very slightly up to the shoulder. This may move for a test of the neckline, which would be very, very bullish. If we test above that neckline and if we break that neckline, we are definitely going for a savage pump somewhere around the 5,500 to 5,000 range. Now, what if the price drops in this area? As we are still forming the right shoulder, it is possible that we could continue to side trend around this range, just moving up and down into this area. Even if we break down to 3,600 or so, we'll still maintain that formation. So this may not necessarily break up to the neckline. This could break right back down and we'll continue this range. Even if it does break down, it's not necessarily bearish. It could still be bullish. One important factor of this formation as well would be the test of the descending triangle, which would be a very bearish breakdown. I covered this in the previous video as well. If we continue to side trend within this area, respecting these boundaries, 1, it will be very easy to trade in, and 2, we could expect further dumping, possibly down to the 1800 level. But if we do smash through this, this will violate this trend, and we will very likely move for the neckline and start a very, very savage pump. Although this pump, I do believe, will be temporary. I don't think we're going to find much support in this level. I think we will post a higher high, but we are going to break back down to previous support somewhere around the 3,000 level or so before continuing forwards. Overall, I would say I'm cautiously bullish right now, around 70% bullish, 30% bearish. The looming long squeezes are very concerning to me, and I think they could produce very violent drops. One more concerning thing and another reminder from the last video is there are 2 events coming tomorrow, and I have given this warning out to my VIPs. This is the Proof of Keys event, which is more of a protest. Basically, big whales in the crypto space are taking their money out of the exchanges, and this won't necessarily create sell pressure, but it will create a low volume day, so we may see some volatile spikes moving up and down. The other major factor is that it is Bitcoin's birthday tomorrow. Normally that does see a very nice pump moving up to the birthday, so with that combined with the low volume, that may be the catalyst to actuate the break of the neckline and move us into a very, very bullish pump. However, there's also a chance that the bots that are functioning in this area will start moving us with some bearish pressure, and we may see some violent spikes up or down. So I personally am going to be closing most of my positions and staying out of the market and letting the market kind of do its own thing. I will be planning accordingly for a break of the neckline, and I will also be planning accordingly for a break of the right shoulder in violation of this trend. My VIPs get access to my personal exits and entries, and they know exactly what I'm planning to do in case of this. So on to some quick news. Bitcoin's next halving rally coming soon in 2019. There's an article over on CoinDesk. It's fairly bullish. It does bring up a very interesting point. Normally the Bitcoin halving, when the reward for mining gets halved, the inflation tends to kick in for the specific coin. We can see this with Ethereum, we can see this with Bitcoin. Normally people look at the exact date of the halving when the price will start increasing. However, this article brings up that about a year and a half or a year before the actual halving, which will be, I believe, May of 2020. Yes, May of 2020. The price actually tends to bottom out 1 year before starting a gradual increase. Now, in terms of bullish sentiment, that would be very good. That would mean that we have in fact bottomed out. This is a possibility. There's obviously the market psychology behind it that until that fear goes away, we won't see much mass adoption, and there's no telling that this is the bottom. There's obviously the inverse of that as well, which is that most people never really spot the bottom. The bottom isn't in until you look back in the chart and realize, oh, okay, that was the bottom. So most people calling for lower lows, they'll continue to do that. Now, I do believe that more than likely we will see another lower low eventually, and we won't have a full resurgence until all of the bears become bulls, until everyone has capitulated and said, okay, this is the bottom. But we have had a very healthy increase in the market here. Taking a look at the actual market cap for Bitcoin, we have been steadily increasing with the money flow, slowly but surely flowing up to around $134 billion up from 125 this week. That is very healthy, and you can see from this incline that it's been fairly steady. It's not this wave up and down, it's just been a slow gradual growth, so that is very good for the market, and it does make me hopeful for a recovery eventually. I will be playing this day by day and seeing where exactly we go to. Even if we spike up to 5,500, I still think we may test 3,200. We may break through this support and test 1,800. If this does not break up to 5,500, 5,000, whatever, breaking from this neckline, and it continues in this descending triangle pattern, I think a new lower low is almost guaranteed. So that's it for today's technical analysis. If you do make any trades today, I wish you luck. Please join me in my free Telegram at t.me/cryptosnakepit, where I give up-to-the-minute updates on Bitcoin and my personal exits and entries for the private VIP group. Also included is our private VIP chat, where you can chat with many of our experienced savage traders, get personal technical analysis from me, and answer any questions you might have. This is Crypto Snake, signing off.